We're going to start today with two bloodbaths, one that is taking place and one that could take place a few months from now. The first one is a bloodbath in the Fox News ratings, and I know that this brings such great pleasure to so many in my audience. Some feel bad, but the most important thing is that this is a bloodbath that is taking place without any government overreach, without any suppression of anybody's speech or anything of the sort. It is a self-inflicted bloodbath for Fox News. Fox News has lost half of its audience since firing Tucker Carlson during that time slot. And there's a lot of different interesting layers to this. And many of you have been writing, is this the end of Fox News? Well, no, it's not the end of Fox News, but is this the end of Fox News as we knew it? Well, that's a different question. And we still have to wait and see the outcomes of multiple additional lawsuits that still remain in play, even though the Dominion lawsuit has been settled for $787.5 million. Salon article. It's a bloodbath. Fox News loses more than half of audience after axing Tucker Carlson. It's not just Tucker's slot, writes the article. Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham's ratings are falling too. Hundreds of thousands of Fox News viewers have switched off the channel after the network fired top primetime host Tucker Carlson last Monday. Substitute host Brian Kilmeade garnered 1.3 million audience members during that 8 p.m. time slot, down 56% from the 3.05 million viewers who tuned in to watch Carlson last Wednesday, according to Nielsen ratings. The dip allowed MSNBC's Chris Hayes to overtake Fox in ratings, a popularity contest that Carlson used to dominate. The conservative host had an average audience of 3.03 million people for all of 2022. It was the second most popular program on cable after Fox's The Five. It is stunning to me that Fox's The Five is a popular show. It's almost completely unintelligible, but I guess it doesn't really matter when you're talking about Fox News. Okay, we'll get back to that. When approached for comment, Fox sent a statement saying for 21 years, it's been the most watched cable network, and it has a team that's, quote, trusted more by viewers than any other news source. Media reporter Brian Stelter noted in a tweet that Fox's audience ratings plummeted from 2.65 million watching Carlson's final show to 2.59 Monday, 1.7 million Tuesday, 1.3 million Wednesday. What's fascinating about that is that the relatively high ratings on Monday, which was Tucker's first show gone, in other words, Brian Kilmeade's first show as the temporary host there, there was a lot of curiosity, sort of like a rubbernecking. How bad is it going to be? It turns out it's really bad. I mean, Kilmeade is not only meaningless to listen to, but also extraordinarily unentertaining and uncharismatic. And then a lot of people said, well, if this is the replacement, then I'm out. It sort of has gotten worse from there. So let's talk about this in a few different contexts. First of all, this isn't one of those, there's dirty tricks, there's free speech suppression, and people are being limited by the woke mob or whatever else the case may be. As we have now established ad nauseum, Tucker Carlson had good ratings, but was a huge legal risk for Fox. And remember, Fox is unique as a cable news network in that it garners the vast majority of its revenues from fees that any of us who have cable pay. Even though I don't watch Fox, I have cable, so I can watch the sports and things like that. And a couple bucks, I guess, somewhere between $2 and $4 of my cable subscription goes to Fox News, even though I don't watch Fox News. That makes Fox different than many of these other channels, in that the other channels disproportionately rely on ad revenue. So the issue with Tucker was not an issue of audience. The issue was that he was a huge legal risk. And so what Fox decided to do is to fire Tucker Carlson. And I've already told you the reasons why. Tucker's program partially responsible for disseminating the allegedly defamatory content that led to the $787 million settlement with Dominion, responsible to some degree for the content that led to the ongoing lawsuit from Smartmatic. You have a former staffer of Tucker Carlson's who has filed a lawsuit for alleged discrimination and misogyny, sexism, all sorts of, that's a problem. And then you potentially have another forthcoming lawsuit from Ray Epps, who says that Tucker has made his life miserable by playing up a conspiracy theory in which Ray Epps is some kind of FBI agent or actor instigating the January 6th riots. So Fox said this is a huge legal headache. Maybe one of the ways we can mitigate the damages we're going to end up having to pay is by saying we've taken care of what was one of the problems that caused these issues for us in the first place. Fine. Fox News did that. No one coerced them into doing that. The viewers are mad and they don't like Brian Kilmeade, and everybody is getting to make their own decisions. Nobody's being coerced here. Now, what's the counterpoint to all of this? While it's nice to see Fox suffering, not because we want to see people go hungry or whatever, it's nice to see Fox suffering because they put out such terrible propaganda that is actively damaging and corrosive to American democracy and thinking. That it's good that bad content suffer. It's alarming to see that a bunch of Fox's audience is not going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to get my news from the AP and Reuters, and for commentary, listen to, I don't know, something much more moderate, some editorial page or whatever the case may be. A lot of the folks furiously tuning out of Fox News may well end up on even more extreme unhinged media outlets like Newsmax or OAN or who the hell knows what. And the United States has a major problem with people have gotten hooked on this sort of thing. As we've talked before, Fox News, in some senses, over the last 2 years since the 2020 election, became a victim of the monster it created. It knew, we now know from text messages, that they were perpetuating lies about the 2020 election. They knew Trump didn't really win. They knew that a van with sandwiches wasn't really proof that Trump actually won Michigan or whatever. They knew it, but they also knew their audience, which they've created, expects them to tell those lies. And so now we have a situation where people are addicted to this stuff and they want their manufactured outrage. They want their scapegoats. They want their, lines like they used to get from Tucker about immigrants make the country dirtier and whatever else the case may be. And this is everywhere. Just the other day, I was at a Trader Joe's and there was a young couple there, maybe mid to late 20s. And the guy, it was a heterosexual couple, meaning there was a man and a woman. And the man, they were out. This is so insane. It sounds made up, but it's all too real. I was looking for a particular type of popsicle that my girlfriend likes. It's tangerine, and apparently it's seasonal. So I was looking and saying, sir, ma'am, where is it? They didn't have it. But in that same freezer area, there's normally mochi. Mochi is delicious, absolutely delicious, mochi ice cream. And they were out of the green tea mochi ice cream. And a guy says to his girlfriend, Joe Biden screwed up the dairy supply chain. And that's why there's no effing mochi here. And I said, this has to be a joke. I'm sure this guy's kidding. I'm sure this guy is kidding. And I kind of looked over and he wasn't kidding. Okay. This is just a little meaningless anecdote about the type of completely unhinged scapegoating and outrage that the Fox News audience wants. So a real problem for Fox News. I'm sure they will figure it out unless they end up with billions more in settlements. One of the best ways to support this show is by supporting our sponsors. Today, one of those sponsors is Sheath Underwear. It is spring. Temperatures are rising. Many of us know all too well about the sweating and the sticking and the chafing, but that's only when you use traditional underwear. When you use Sheath Underwear, it's no longer a problem. Sheath Underwear is ergonomically designed with separate compartments in the front to keep everything dry, cool, and separate, and to keep you comfortable. They come in a zillion different designs, something for everybody. The quality is amazing, super long lasting. Put an end to the readjusting and the sweating and the shifting uncomfortably. Sheath Underwear is really a lifesaver. You will thank yourself. It's a unique product you've got to try at least once to see for yourself. And my audience gets 20% off with code PACMAN. Go to sheathunderwear.com/PACMAN. The link is down below.